Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Travis Walker had always been the kind of husband who believed in balance. At 38, he woke up every day at 5:30 in the morning, made coffee by himself in the quiet kitchen, and left the house before 6:15 to battle the heavy traffic on his way to the auto parts distributor where he worked as operations manager. The job was exhausting, dealing with supplier issues, managing teams, handling angry customers, and making sure orders shipped on time. Travis got home around 7 at night, worn out, his shoulders tight and his head pounding, ready to unwind a bit before going to sleep and starting all over again the next day. Melissa, his wife of 12 years, stayed home taking care of their kids, 9-year-old Owen and 7-year-old Sophie. She dropped the children off at school in the morning, picked them up mid-afternoon, prepared meals, cleaned the house, and kept the household running. It was an arrangement that had seemed to work well for years, until it started to crack. Melissa's complaints began subtly, remarks about dishes left in the sink, clothes Travis tossed into the hamper instead of straight into the washing machine, the way he'd come home and head straight for the couch to watch TV while she was still finishing up in the kitchen. Travis would listen, half agree, but deep down he thought she was overreacting. After all, he worked all day outside the house. He was tired. He deserved to rest. But Melissa didn't see it that way. To her, Travis had it easy. He left the house, talked to adults, ate lunch in peace, came home, and relaxed. She, on the other hand, never had a quiet minute. The kids fought, the house always needed something, bills piled up, and no one ever acknowledged her effort. Arguments became more frequent. Melissa would drop hints that Travis didn't appreciate what she did, and he'd fire back that working outside the home was hard too. Tension built until one Friday night in March, after Travis forgot to buy milk on his way home, Melissa finally snapped. They were in the kitchen. Travis had just hung his jacket over the back of a chair and opened the fridge when Melissa asked where the milk was. He made a face like he'd completely forgotten and said he'd get it the next day. Melissa slammed her hand on the counter and turned to him, eyes flashing with anger. "You can't do one thing, Travis. Just one thing. I asked you in the morning, sent you a text in the afternoon, and you just forgot. Because everything's easy for you, right? You think your job is hard? Try living a week in my shoes. I bet you wouldn't last 2 days." Travis let out a short, tired laugh, thinking it was just another rant. "Melissa, I work 10 hours a day. It's not a competition." But she didn't back down. She crossed her arms, stepped forward, and spoke firmly, challengingly. "I'm serious. 1 week. You take care of everything here, I go out to work. Let's see who gets tired first." Travis felt his pride sting. He'd always been competitive, and the idea that Melissa thought he couldn't handle her routine deeply annoyed him. He looked her in the eyes and replied without thinking. "Deal. We start Monday." Melissa smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who just won something, and Travis couldn't quite read what it meant. She nodded, said it was settled, and went to bed. Travis stayed in the kitchen, wondering if he'd just made a mistake, but he pushed the feeling aside. He was going to prove he could do it, and rub it in her face. Monday arrived cold and gray. Travis woke up early as usual, but instead of getting ready for work, he stayed in sweatpants and a t-shirt while Melissa put on his dress pants, his button-down shirt, grabbed his work bag, and even took his company phone. She was literally stepping into his shoes at the distributor. Travis's boss, after a strange call on Sunday night, had agreed to let Melissa observe and assist for a week as part of a personal project. Travis didn't fully understand how she'd convinced the guy, but he didn't argue. Melissa left the house at 6:15, leaving Travis alone with Owen and Sophie. The first few hours went smoothly. Travis made breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice, and sat down to eat with the kids. Sophie spilled juice on her shirt, and Travis had to rush to change her clothes before heading out. He got the kids into the car, dropped them off at school, and returned home feeling like he was doing okay. The house was quiet. Travis looked around and saw the mess: dishes in the sink, toys scattered in the living room, laundry in the basket. He sighed and started cleaning. He washed the dishes, tossed the clothes into the washer, vacuumed the living room. By the time he finished, it was almost noon. He made a sandwich, ate quickly, and realized he needed to pick up the kids in just 2 hours. Time had flown, and he'd barely gotten through half of what Melissa normally did. In the afternoon, Travis picked up Owen and Sophie from school. Sophie was sulking because her teacher had scolded her, and Owen complained the whole way home that he was hungry. Travis stopped at a drive-thru, bought them burgers, and took everyone home. The kids ate while watching cartoons as Travis tried to fold the laundry that had come out of the dryer. Suddenly, Sophie burst into tears, saying she wanted her mom, and Owen got upset because the Wi-Fi was down and he couldn't play on his tablet. Travis felt frustration rising, but he took a deep breath and handled each problem one by one. He calmed Sophie, rebooted the router, finished folding the laundry. When Melissa got home at 7 that night, Travis was exhausted on the couch, the kids already in pajamas but the kitchen still a mess. Melissa glanced around, said nothing, and went to take a shower. Travis fell asleep that night feeling like he'd survived day 1, but certain day 2 would be easier. But Tuesday started worse. Owen woke up complaining of a stomachache, Sophie refused to put on her school uniform, and Travis burned the pancakes at breakfast. He still managed to get both kids to school, returned home, and dove into the cleaning routine. That's when he realized he needed to pay some bills online and remembered Melissa always handled that from her phone. She'd taken his phone, but left hers at home because she wouldn't need it. Travis picked it up from the nightstand and unlocked it. He knew her password, they'd always known each other's. He opened the banking app, but before he got there, a message notification caught his eye. It was from an unsaved number, and the preview read, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." Travis's stomach twisted. He opened the full message and read slowly, his heart starting to race. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. That motel near the highway is perfect. Nobody saw us." The message had been sent Monday night, shortly after Melissa got home from work. Travis read it 3 times, trying to process it. Motel. Highway. Nobody saw us. Anger and fear mixed inside him. Hands shaking, he checked the message history and saw that many texts had been deleted, but some remained, fragmented. "Next Tuesday, our usual time, you're incredible." Travis threw the phone onto the couch and went to Melissa's laptop on the desk in the office. He opened it, it was still logged into her email, and searched for anything related to motels, trips, or meetups. It didn't take long. There were reservation confirmations under Melissa Walker's name for the Sunset Lodge, a rundown motel on the edge of town, all booked for Tuesdays between 1 and 4 in the afternoon. Always Tuesdays. Always the same place. Travis felt like the floor had vanished beneath him. He tried to breathe, but the air wouldn't come in right. Melissa was cheating on him. On Tuesdays. While he thought she was home taking care of the kids, she was at a motel with another man. And worse, she'd proposed this role swap right now, right on a Tuesday. Was she planning to meet the guy again today? Travis didn't hesitate. He called his mom, asked her to pick up Owen and Sophie from school and keep them for the rest of the afternoon, making up some excuse. Then he grabbed the keys to the spare car in the garage, wrote down the address for the Sunset Lodge, and left the house, blood boiling. The motel was about 20 minutes away, a low, faded brick building with numbered parking spots in front of each room. Travis arrived a little after 2 in the afternoon and immediately saw what he was looking for. His silver sedan, the car Melissa had taken that morning, was parked in spot number 6. The confirmation hit him like a punch to the gut. He parked across the lot, turned off the engine, and sat there trying to decide what to do. Part of him wanted to leave, pretend he hadn't seen anything, go home and forget it all. But the other part, the furious, humiliated, betrayed part, couldn't let it go. He got out of the car, crossed the parking lot, and stopped in front of room 6. He took a deep breath, and knocked hard. It took a few seconds for the door to open. When it did, Melissa stood there wrapped in a white sheet, hair messy, eyes wide with absolute terror. She froze for a moment, mouth open but no sound coming out. Behind her, Travis saw a man in his mid-40s scrambling off the bed and grabbing his jeans. Travis recognized him instantly. It was Greg Sutton. Greg, the sales manager at the distributor. Greg, who'd worked with Travis for 5 years. Greg, who came over for barbecues, greeted the kids, and shook Travis's hand every Monday morning asking how his weekend had been. Travis stood silent for 3 long seconds, just staring at them. Melissa tried to speak, her voice trembling and desperate. "Travis, I can explain, this isn't," but Travis raised his hand and cut her off. He looked at Greg, who'd stopped dressing and was standing there like a fool, and let out a short, bitter laugh full of contempt. "Greg. Of course it's you. My coworker. The guy I trusted." He shook his head, voice low but sharp. "So this is how you two spend your Tuesdays, huh? Me thinking my wife's at home, and she's here screwing you." Melissa stepped forward, still clutching the sheet, tears starting to fall. "Travis, please, we need to talk." "I can," Travis interrupted again, his voice rising now, hard and cold. "You wanted to switch roles with me, Melissa. Now I get why. You wanted me out of the house so you could keep coming here without me suspecting. Tuesdays. Always Tuesdays. How many times, Melissa? How many times did you come here while I was working like an idiot, thinking you were taking care of our kids?" Melissa started sobbing, but Travis didn't care. He pulled out his phone and started taking pictures, of the room, of the two of them, of the clothes on the floor, of the motel receipt on the nightstand. Greg tried to protest, saying Travis was invading their privacy, but Travis looked at him with so much hatred the man backed off. "Privacy? You don't have any privacy. You've got a lie, and it's over now." Travis walked out of the room without looking back, ignoring Melissa screaming his name, begging him to come back. He got in the car, hands shaking so badly he could barely turn the key in the ignition, and drove off. On the way home, he called his mom to say he'd be a bit later, then went straight to the office of a lawyer a friend had recommended years ago. The lawyer, a man in his 50s named Richard, listened to everything, looked at the photos, and nodded. "You've got enough evidence for an uncontested divorce on grounds of adultery. We'll file the papers first thing tomorrow morning. And you want custody of the kids?" Travis answered without hesitation. "Full custody." Richard nodded and started preparing the documents. That night, Travis got home before Melissa. He pulled her suitcases from the closet, filled them with her clothes, shoes, toiletries, everything that was hers, and left them stacked on the front porch. Then he called a locksmith and changed the locks. When Melissa arrived around 7, probably coming from the motel, trying to act like nothing had happened, she found her bags on the porch and the door locked. Travis heard her knock, shout his name, beg him to open up. He sat on the couch, the kids already asleep in their rooms, and didn't move. Melissa screamed for nearly half an hour before giving up and leaving. Travis grabbed his phone and sent the photos to his mother-in-law, his own mom, close friends, and the HR department at the distributor. He wasn't going to hide anything. Everyone was going to know the truth. The next few days were a whirlwind. Travis's mother-in-law, who'd always adored him, called crying, saying she had no idea and was ashamed of her daughter. Melissa tried coming back to the house several times, but Travis never opened the door. She sent messages, called, pleaded, claimed it was a mistake, that Greg had manipulated her, that she still loved Travis. He never replied. At work, Greg was called into HR and fired the same day after Travis presented the evidence. The company had a strict policy against extramarital affairs that created conflicts of interest or damaged the work environment. Greg left the distributor humiliated, carrying a box of his belongings while everyone watched. Travis, on the other hand, received support from his co-workers, who were shocked and outraged by the betrayal. That Friday, Travis officially filed for divorce. Melissa tried to contest it, hiring a shoddy lawyer who argued Travis was acting rashly and that the marriage could still be saved. But the evidence was undeniable: photos, messages, motel receipts, reservation confirmations. The judge, reviewing the case, granted Travis primary custody of Owen and Sophie, ordering that Melissa would only have supervised visits until she could prove emotional and financial stability. Travis also kept the house, which was in both their names, but the judge ruled it was better for the children to stay in their familiar environment. Melissa walked away from the proceedings with almost nothing: no house, no kids, no reputation. She tried to rebuild her life, but news of the affair had spread through the entire neighborhood. Neighbors who'd once been friends turned their backs on her. Melissa ended up living in a small apartment across town, working at a call center to pay the bills. She tried multiple times to win Travis back, sending messages saying she'd learned her lesson and wanted her family back, but Travis never responded. He'd moved on. As for Greg, he disappeared from town after losing his job and reputation, unable to face the consequences of what he'd done. 6 months after the divorce, Travis was rebuilt. He'd been promoted at work, taking over Greg's former position, and was earning more than ever. His relationship with Owen and Sophie had grown stronger. He was present, attentive, made a point of attending every school event and important moment. The kids, who'd initially been confused and sad about the separation, gradually understood what had happened and came to respect their father even more. Melissa kept trying to reconnect with them during supervised visits, but Owen, old enough now to grasp everything, barely spoke to her. Sophie still showed some affection, but she was distant, hurt by her mother's sudden absence. Travis never spoke to Melissa again except through brief, practical messages about the kids' visitation schedule. He no longer felt anger, just indifference. He'd learned that swapping roles for a week wasn't really about housework or jobs outside the home. It was about character. And Melissa's character had revealed its true face in less than 2 days. Travis realized that, ironically, that foolish challenge she'd thrown out, that role swap she thought would humiliate him, had been the best thing that could have happened. Because if it hadn't been for that, he might never have discovered the truth. He might have kept living a lie for years, being deceived every Tuesday while working hard and trusting his wife completely. Now, Travis woke up every day with a clear conscience. He knew who he was: a present father, an honest man, someone who deserved respect. And he'd found something Melissa never had: peace. While she lived trying to piece together a life shattered by her own betrayal, Travis moved forward, stronger, wiser, and finally free. The kids had learned a hard but valuable lesson: that trust is the foundation of everything, and when you break that trust, the consequences are irreversible. Owen, in a late-night conversation, told his dad he admired how he'd handled everything and that he wanted to be like Travis when he grew up. Hearing that, Travis felt he'd done the right thing. What had started as a silly provocation on a Friday night had become the biggest turning point in Travis's life. Melissa had tried to prove her life was harder, that Travis had no idea what real work was. But what she hadn't expected was that by pulling Travis out of his routine, she'd opened the door to her own downfall. Because in those 2 days at home, Travis hadn't just uncovered the affair, he'd discovered he was stronger than he'd ever imagined. He could take care of the kids, the house, everything, and still have enough dignity not to accept crumbs from a woman who didn't respect him. And Melissa? She'd lost it all. The house, the kids, the marriage, her reputation. All because of some rundown motel on an ordinary Tuesday and the arrogance of thinking she'd never get caught. In the end, she'd begged to stop the role swap on day 2. But it was already too late. Travis had seen the truth. And the truth had set him free. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.